So this evening we're going to be doing a salsa. It's called a chiltomate, which is typical of a Mayan cuisine. On your hot grill, you're going to place an onion, a few heads of garlic. You then start placing your tomates, your tomatoes, and a nice medium-sized chile habanero. Now you want these to sit on the grill for a little bit. You want them to char. So you want them to become blackened, and then they'll be ready. Ooh. So you could also do this on your stove. If you have a gas stove, you just turn on the flame and put these directly onto the grate. Those are looking real good. So I went ahead and removed the chile habanero and the ajo, and I'll show you what we'll do next with it. Before you start preparing the salsa, you need to peel those garlic cloves. Once those are peeled, go ahead and put them in your mortar and pestle. If you don't have one of these, you could use a big mixing bowl and a potato masher. Now to this, you're going to add your salt. So about a teaspoon of salt, you add it in there and you mash it up. So we're going to mash it up. So you're combining those two together. Just mash and mash and mash and mash till you get a paste. To this paste, you're going to add your habanero pepper, and again, you mash it up into the paste. So once that paste is nice and mashed up, as we say, you're going to add this to your mixing bowl. Okay? After you remove the tomatoes from the grill, you want to give them a little bit so that they cool down, because if you cut into them now, you're going to get burned. When the tomato is cool enough for the touch, you want to cut that in half, like so. It's kind of hard with one hand, and you want that to happen. You want to squeeze out the juice. Once you have your tomatoes and you squeeze out the juice and the little seeds, there they are, you could discard that. We'll move on to the next step. You'll then take your beautifully charred onion. See how that is? See? Pretty. You're going to dice that up. It's a little hot, so you want to make sure that you let it cool. Now this is a rough dice, but it doesn't matter because this is a rustic salsa going straight into the tomatoes. So the onions are now in with the tomatoes. So what we'll do next, we're going to mix that up together. Okay, so incorporate those two. Remember that in this mix we already have the roasted mashed garlic and the habaneros with salt, so we're just going to check for flavor next. That has a really good flavor, but we're not quite done yet. So we're going to add some cilantro and some lime juice to the mix. The thing with Mr. Cilantro is that you never need quite that much, but at the store you always get that much, but you only need a little handful. Okay, so we're going to add the cilantro to the salsa, kind of like that. Sprinkle it in there. Adds the flavor, the fresh flavor. So you may be asking, why all the charred bits in there? Well, that's very traditional. You want to include those because that's where all the flavor is. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you incorporate all that cilantro in there that you just chopped up to give it some nice flavor throughout the salsa. So your salsa is almost ready to go. The last thing we do is we add the citrus. So this citrus is a mix, and I'll tell you about it next. So in the tropics, we have a orange called a sour orange that is used to cook. Well, when you don't have that sour orange, you'll be using a half cup of lime juice, a quarter cup of orange juice, and a quarter cup of grapefruit juice. For this salsa, we're just going to use a tablespoon. So you don't need all that mixture, but it does come in handy to have it in the refrigerator. Okay, so I said about a tablespoon, so let's just measure it out to there. Okay guys, so there you have it, your chiltomate salsa. Perfect, ready to go with your rice and beans or with your beans and rice. Thank you guys for indulging me with this little project that I'm doing. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Laters.